Hello there, welcome back to the channel. This is Nerd World Empire and continuing my exploration of the Dominion and assets therein. One of those Alpha Quadrant assets we don't often look at or talk about or discuss, is a bit of a shame to the Federation, is the reason possibly why, would be that of the sonar, or the Baku, depending on what species ethnicity you want to give them. The sonar were a humanoid, violent species who were known to have conquered two other civilizations and integrated them as slave races into their own, making up a sort of worker caste. The sonar were very technologically sophisticated and extremely hostile towards the Federation, its allies and others. They became allies of the Dominion and were known to have been a species that produced the narcotic Ketracel White, which the Jem'Hadar had been addicted to and were used as a means of controlling them within the Dominion. Why exactly the sonar produced Ketracel White, as it seems to be a new compound to the Federation and other Alpha Quadrant powers, I don't know. It's perhaps that they figured out how to make it and began to synthesize it in a means to trade with the Dominion. They were once referred to by Dumar as also defending certain areas of Dominion-held space, when Wayun ordered Dumar to divert Cardassian warships to reinforce a certain sector, and he just simply flippantly said, "Can't the sonar do it?" The reason we need to analyse this is we don't see the sonar participate in the Battle of Cardassia, the Battle of Chintaka, or any of the other major engagements of the war. If anything, they seem to only hold a sort of placeholder position within the Dominion, sort of an almost passive membership role, enough that they were actually able to have a separate alliance with the Federation, albeit a secret one, at some point during the war. This, of course, would culminate in the Battle of the Briar Patch, and generally speaking, the attempted, parenticide of the Baku. The Federation would forge an alliance with them in order to try to extract materials from the Briar Patch that basically would have revitalized and completely reinvented all known medical science within the Federation. It could have reversed incredible physical injury and even prevented death itself, and extended life expectancies for humans and other species into the centuries, possibly even millennia. But it was too scattered around the expanse, but the amount of it present in the atmosphere of the Baku's homeworld meant that the concentration meant they could get a lot of it very quickly. The Federation lacked the extraction technology. The sonar had the extraction technology, but the Briar Patch was within Federation space. So there's an interesting dichotomy going on here. What exactly was the nature of the sonar's relationship with the Dominion, that they were also able to parlay with the Federation? It is possible that the relationship with the Federation was prior to their inclusion within the Dominion. It's possible the sonar went to the Dominion after the alliance with the Federation broke down and the Enterprise defeated their forces and drove them out of the Briar Patch. They simply went to the Dominion and went like, "Hey, look, we'll give you all this Ketracel White if you help us, basically strip mine that nebula." The Dominion's like, yeah, go for it. It's possible. But this is my sort of question. Where exactly do they fit? Because aside from a few remarks about them holding on to and securing Dominion space, they produced Ketracel White, which is obviously the only real market for that was the Dominion. What exactly position were they filling within the Dominion? What role? How were they members of the Dominion? When did they become members of the Dominion? What happened to them at the end? Because they also weren't at the peace treaty. They didn't sign the armistice. Were they considered an annexed state? Were they more of an ally like the Breen? Were they full-blown members like the Cardassians? Analysing their place within the Dominion is not easy, but also analysing exactly how the Federation maintained a relationship with them at this time is also curious. The sonar is not exactly a traditional Federation ally, and I think, as Picard pointed out, it speaks volumes to how paranoid the Federation was getting and how desperate they were getting to win this war. It didn't matter who the ally was. They needed allies, they needed them now. Whether those allies were technologically inferior species that only had warp capability for 6 years, or whether they were an extremely hostile, violent race of enslavers who produced narcotics and weapons of mass destruction which were against the Treaty of Algernon, didn't really matter to the Federation at this point, although it could also be a reflection of, evil Admiral syndrome. Admiral Doherty looking at you right now. So, again, put it to the comments. What do we think? What were the sonar to the Dominion? And how did they maintain an alliance with the Federation, although it wasn't a very good alliance, clearly. It was an alliance of convenience, which is what I think it was. But considering they were members of the Dominion, or would become the members of the Dominion, how do you count the number of ways that the Federation's alliance with the Sonar was a mistake? Not only were they complicit in the attempted genocide of the Baku, they were also complicit in dealing with a race who were ethically against everything what the Federation stood for, and their entire existence and society was antithetical to the Federation. And did the Federation's alliance with them and subsequent betrayal of that alliance, which I'm all for, screw the Sonar, did that drive them into the hands of the Dominion and actually make things for the Federation worse? Because it created an additional security problem. The Dominion suddenly gained an ally that actually had some kind of intimate knowledge of the Federation. They'd worked with them. They were more familiar with their technology than, say, the Cardassians or the Breen were. So what do you guys think? Let me know, comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and share this video around if you enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd just like to say a thank you to everyone for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoy making these. If you did enjoy it, please consider giving a like, share, and a subscribe, and maybe checking out the other videos on the screen right now, and in the description box below there are links to my other social media accounts.